Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Smith, first off on ATC and ATC reform, some folks have said that to privatize the system, the reason to do that is because airlines aren't receiving enough next-gen benefits. But I know in Memphis there's been some investment in next-gen, and FedEx, I believe, has directly benefited from that investment in next-gen. Could you just cover that for us?
Sure. We were the prototype location for a next-gen application, which allowed us to narrow the separation between landing aircraft and aircraft taking off. It's been a spectacular success. It's improved the productivity of the FedEx operation there, saved tens of millions of gallons of fuel, allowed us to serve our customers more efficiently and keep on time. A next-gen application nationwide, but particularly in the Northeast, which is the linchpin of the whole ATC system because of the population density and the proximity of major airports one to another. There's the opportunity to vastly improve the productivity of the nation's air traffic control system with the types of technologies that we demonstrated and prototyped at our major hub in Memphis, Tennessee. And I might add something here that's a little known fact. In terms of the number of customs entries, not tonnage, because sea freight obviously carries more tonnage than air cargo, but the largest port in terms of customs entries in the United States of America is Memphis, Tennessee, where our super hub is. Yeah. And the productivity of that hub and the commerce of the United States, because of those improvements in ATC pioneered by FedEx with the FAA in Memphis, has vastly improved the productivity, not just of Memphis, but the entire national economy.
Yeah, thanks. Mr. Chairman, you didn't reset my clock. I think there was a minute 30. And
Mr. Larsen, I just looked at it and said, that was 5 minutes?
Yeah, I know it seems like a long
time. Put me to
when
sleep.
Speaking. Yeah, yeah.
No, I don't think his clock was reset, Adam.
All right, so like about 3 minutes or so? Yeah.
Give 3 minutes.
Yeah, okay, great, thanks. I noticed. Thanks. Ms. Trumka, in your written testimony you discussed this, but you didn't really cover it in your oral testimony. Can you talk about the sort of the marriage of workforce development and apprenticeships with infrastructure investment, and maybe a lesson for us as we approach infrastructure investment?
We believe that we have the best skilled workforce in the world. We train more people every year. We bring people out of the neighborhood to be able to create a very effective workforce. Infrastructure, we think, is really a job creator for this country. How it's financed will have an effect on how important or how widespread the job creation is. If Buy America provision is expanded, and we think it should, it will have a greater impact on the number of jobs that are created. If more waivers are created, then taxpayers' dollars will be used to drive down wages and encourage outsourcing. That's why on all the types of funding that we look at, private partnerships, for instance, have a limited applicability here because they need a revenue source, so they won't apply to repair and maintenance. They won't do much in the rural areas. And if they do come about in those limited areas, we would need to see 13C protection, Davis-Bacon protection, domestic preferences, protection for rail and public sector workers, so that those public dollars aren't used to drive down wages and actually suppress the economy and dampen the economy, but actually grow it. So how you do it is important. We are full scale behind infrastructure because, as every witness here has said, our country depends on it, our competitiveness depends on it, and we're anxious to get started and put people back to work.
Thanks. Mr. Villish, in talking about road sensors and markings and such, you know, we talk about building roads, bridges, highways. We don't talk about painting lines on the road usually. But what you're essentially saying, I guess, is that we need to be, for the, to support automated vehicles, we need to be rethinking a little bit the definition of infrastructure to support autonomous vehicles. Is that true? And then does BMW have something more complete that you can offer the committee? Not in your answer, but just maybe for us to read later.
It's not really that complicated. We just need continuous marking, and that should be there anyway. So it's not that we have to have a special thing for automatic driving. It's just, that the marking is continuing on the roadside and in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's not a really
that
specific
simple, huh?
BMW. Yeah, it really is that simple.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank the gentleman.